Are you there, Maddie?
Yep.
Let's see what we have. I am back on YouTube, I think. We are back on Facebook, it would appear. So let's just visit. What's your favorite part so far today? As I look at this, we've got people that are starting to join on again. I was so excited. We were sitting there at like at a whole big group that was watching us there on Facebook. I think it was one of the highest numbers we've had all day, Maddie. And then we just had to kind of go. I'm not sure what it was with YouTube. They had a they apparently had someone flagged us or said that we violated something in their service policy. So I don't know what that is, and I've already filed an appeal. But we're going to get rocking and rolling here. So I'm gonna throw out there. I know that we have Kay who is ready to go, that we can see, and we're going to get to you in just a second there, Kay. And I see already that we have Lauren who has signed on. Lauren, your video is sideways, just so that you know, and we've got Kay here before we get you going. We're going to give just a second because we just had to reboot back to our live streaming options. Hopefully people are joining back in with us. I see that we're already picking up some of them again on YouTube. And so we're gonna wait just a moment and let people join us. It's really been an exciting day, and you know, I get to see a lot of these folks, and they're using the emojis on Facebook, Maddie, and we're just rolling. So what's your favorite or been most interesting one so far today for you?
Let me look. I don't know. There's just so many different things. I thought it was pretty cool. I never knew that they grew popcorn or green beans in Illinois. So that was pretty cool. Getting to hear about that. I like that a lot. That was cool. The maple syrup was cool too. What about you?
I thought that there's been a lot of them that have been really neat. I thought that just here recently watching Libby be able to take us inside a grain bin and so many people that have seen from the outside of the grain bin to be able to go ahead and look inside, I think was really a good deal. So yeah, that kind of ranks up there for me.
Yeah. My computer just died, so I got to grab my charger quick. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. And Libby knew so much about those grain bins. I was very impressed.
So that was a neat one. And I know that grain bin safety is a really important thing out there, and we don't always think about it. And we especially don't think about it when we just see them sitting there on the horizon. So
yeah, it's like kind of scary stuff.
And the opportunity, you know, to hear about those specialty crops. Going back the other day when I was listening to Colin and kind of heard that where he had said that Illinois was the #1 popcorn producer. I had no idea. So
yeah, me neither.
So I think that's pretty good. It looks like we are live on both of our platforms again here. Thank you everybody for coming back to us. I'm sorry that we had that glitch. I'm actually kind of impressed. We've made it 4 hours in here before we really had too much of a glitch.
Yeah. Yep.
Not too bad for a couple of first-time streamers, but why don't you go ahead and take it and introduce Kay.
Sounds good. All right. Next, we will be hearing about gardening from Kaylin Lane. Kaylin has been in the state FFA chorus and was a sophomore this year at Pontiac. So take it away when you're ready, Kay. You're muted, Kay.
Hold on, Kaylin, you're muted.
There we go.
Try now.
We good?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So I'm standing in between my onion rows, my garlic rows. We planted these last year. But before I take you on a tour, I'm going to tell you a little about the history. So this garden was started 50 years ago by my grandfather's mother, and she's the one who started this. And then my grandmother has continued it, and so then I've joined her, and so now it's kind of like our family garden. Asparagus has been here for 30 years. Asparagus has been last about 30 years, so we have to split it again. But it's been, been here for about 30 years. So we've got onions, peas, carrots, beets. Not everything has come up yet. We've also got tomatoes, this is our row of tomatoes. As you can see, there's milk jugs and flower pots on the tomatoes. That is because it's supposed to frost tonight, so we're just preparing for the frost because the milk jugs are going to protect the plants from getting frosted. I'm actually going to show you. I'm actually going to plant something for you, a little demonstration right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to dig a hole about 4 inches deep. That way it's deep enough for the cabbage plant to grow. So that way it has enough soil. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your eggshells, and the eggshells actually have, and so it helps the plant from getting end rot, which is what happens is the ends. So like this is cabbage, so the cabbage head, it'll get on the end of the fruit, it'll get rot. So what you're going to do is you're going to put some eggshells just down into the soil. You don't need a lot, just a little bit to make sure that you get enough down in there. And then you're going to want to take a plant. Don't break the roots because they're wrapped around the soil, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that. These roots are wrapped around, so you don't want to break them up because that'll rip the roots. You're just going to want to put it down in the ground, covered up with soil. And then just a few centimeters below the leaf. That way the leaves have room to breathe. And normally we till before we plant, but I didn't have time to do that. So there you go. That's how you plant cabbage. And sorry, but it's just what we had to do to protect the frost. So that's my garden. If you're wondering what happened to these peppers, we had some animals decide to feast on our garden last night. So it ate the tomatoes, it ate lettuce, and it ate ivory pepper. So yeah, the animals decided to have a feast.
Oh no.
On plants. Yeah, I don't know what it is about lettuce, but they like our plants. So
Ask them if they have any
questions?
So what kind of animals come in and eat all the different vegetables and everything?
Well, so it was rabbits that ate the tomatoes and the peppers because there's some tomatoes right here. There's a tomato right here, and they ate that. So
oh wow,
it's normally rabbits and some deer like to eat it. Yeah, mainly rabbits and deer are the main animals that eat the plants here.
gotcha. So how many different types of vegetables do you have planted out there?
I'd say 12 to 14 different types. We also have herbs. I didn't give up herbs. So we've got stevia, Italian oregano, and lemongrass. Those are the 3 main types of herbs that we plant. Yeah, we mainly 12 to 14 different types of plants.
Gotcha.
So we've got tomatoes, cabbage, lettuce, potatoes, sugar snap peas, onions, garlic, broccoli, lettuce. What else? Carrots
Awesome.
and beets. We also actually have a small garden with strawberries in it, and we will also plant sweet potatoes. But strawberries, they come up annually, so they come up every year.
Gotcha. So do you eat all of this or do you sell any of it?
Well, for my grandmother and I, we can. So basically, what canning is, you take the vegetables you get from the garden, you put them in jars with water and salt. Then you put them in a boiling pot of water and you cover it. So like you need kind of like a steam cooker. You put it on the stove, and then you let it get to a certain pressure, and then you release the pressure, and then it's canned. One thing you don't want to do is don't tap the lid of the can before it pops itself, because normally you hear it pop before it taps it. So
Gotcha. So there's this frost coming tonight. How are you gonna prepare for that?
so we put, as you can see, we've got milk jugs covering the plants, so the frost can't get into these jugs. They can't get into the pot. And if you're wondering what these are called tomato cages. They last year we didn't put these cages on them, so they were everywhere. Like we're literally stepping on tomatoes trying to get tomatoes to eat, and so we put them in cages so they're up off the ground and you're not stepping on them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we've got pots, flower pots over. We got these milk jugs. They're tied down because it was so windy, they were blowing, so we couldn't just stick them in the ground like you're supposed to. We tied them. But Graham and I did that earlier this morning.
Gotcha. So those eggshells you showed us earlier, what is the purpose of those?
So these eggshells right here, they give the plant extra calcium, and it prevents fruit end rot, which happens to the plants if they don't have enough calcium. The fruit will rot on the end of it, so that's why we put the eggshells in the dirt with them so that they won't get that end rot. Also, these are farm fresh eggs from our chickens we have on the other side of the barn, so that's a lot more calcium in them too, it's fresh. We try to be all organic, so we don't spray chemicals on our plants. We try to be all organic. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think those are all the questions I have that have come through. So thank you so much, Kaylin.
Yep, no problem. I enjoyed it.
Really appreciate you coming in.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon, Kaylin.
Yep, see you, Maddie.
All right, here we go on to the next speaker. Up next is Lauren Moore from Carlock, Illinois. Lauren is from the Normal West FFA chapter and was just named state champion in the sheep proficiency area. She will be talking to us about her sheep. So whenever you're ready, Lauren, just take it away.
All right. So today I'm just going to be talking about ear tagging. So we always have to tag our sheep, and there's two purposes for them. One is flock tags, and then the second is a scrapie tag. So a flock tag is just so we can identify which lamb it is. And then the scrapie tag is it's a federal law to have the scrapie tag. And so scrapie is a brain disease that affects both sheep and goats. And so it's highly contagious and it affects their brain, and they end up dying. But so the reason why we have the tags is so that if a lamb ever gets scrapie, then they can track the lamb back to the farm, and then they'll quarantine the farm. So back to these flock tags, we have a numbering system that we do here. So the first two numbers on this tag is for the end of the year. Like, so if it's 2020, the first two is going to be 20. But then if it was like 2017, year that this lamb was born, then the second two numbers are the number for what the lamb was born that year. So this is the first lamb that was born within the year. And then so if it was maybe the sixth lamb born, that number is going to be 2006. So those are the tags that we use and the purposes for them. And then I'll go ahead and grab my ear tagger and show you guys what it looks like. So this is the ear tagger. And then, so that's how you put in the ear tags. Let me grab an alcohol swab. So before you put in a tag, you want to make sure that it's clean. So we'll use one of these alcohol prep pads just to clean it off because you want your equipment to be clean. And then after I do that, I will show you how to put in the tags, and then we'll also go ahead and sanitize the tag itself. So this is the tag that we're going to put in today. So this is the one that you want to make sure it gets really clean because this is what's going to punch through the ear. So then we'll go ahead and put it inside of our ear tagger. So this end's going to go on the more pointy end, and then this one's going to slide right in here, just like that. So now I'll go ahead and show you guys what the ear looks like and where we're going to put the ear tag in. So there's these different ridges inside of the ear that you want to make sure that you miss. You don't want to put in the ear tag into those because it can make their ear go floppy, and also it'll bleed a lot. So we're going to put it right in here where my thumb is, right in between those ridges. So let me go ahead and go grab my ear tagger. So we'll go ahead and put it in right here. And so now that is, 1 second, okay. So that is how we put in an ear tag. And just want to show the other side. So this is just a flock tag showing us which lamb this is. So if we ever need to just figure out which lamb or who this lamb was out of. So that's what ear tagging is for. And that's also how you do it. Are there any questions?
Awesome. Let me get our questions up here. What kind of sheep do you have?
So on my farm, I have both Oxfords and Cotswolds. So this is a mistake that happened this last summer. A natural colored ram got in with one of my Oxford yearling ewes. So they normally aren't this dark. The Oxfords are this size, but they're a little bit lighter headed, and then they're going to have a white body. And then the Cotswolds are more of a wool breed, and so they have curly white wool.
Gotcha. So, what does the natural color mean?
That they're gonna have, like, it can be, so if you want to show that, so like gray, black, sometimes it can be more silver. So it's just one that's not white.
Gotcha. How old is that sheep that you have?
This was born in January. So our like numbering system starts over like at the beginning of the year. So everything from January all the way up to the next like December, those are all going to be within the 20 numbering system. But we normally only lamb between January and March. And then if we ever have fall lambs, that's going to be like September, October.
Gotcha. So, I take it you show sheep like in fairs and everything, right? So,
Yes.
Are your sheep like breeding or market, or what do you show them in?
Yeah, they're going to be breeding animals, breeding sheep. So I'll show springs, falls, and then also yearlings at different county fairs over the summer. And then I also try to go to some state fairs and some national shows in the fall.
Oh, awesome. So how many, I guess you could call them baby sheep do you have right now, or the younger sheep?
Yeah, I have right around 33 spring lambs. And then this last fall, I had 3 fall lambs that are going to be putting into my show string this summer.
Awesome. Let's see if we get any more questions. So, how soon do you shear the lambs at all, or do you just let them have the longer wool?
Yeah, so right around now is when we're shearing them. So with like the Oxfords, we're gonna cut them out. So we'll leave like their butt wool, and then we'll shear like their necks right here and then over their bodies, but then leave the back end wool and then also their legs and their top knot. But like right now, we're shearing all of the old ewes. And so then we shear both spring and fall for the old ewes.
Awesome. Sorry, kind of cut in and out there. So do you use the wool that you shear, or what do you do with the wool?
Yeah, so we sell it to Jim Davis, and then he takes it to Foreston at Grownwold. But then like the lamb's wool, typically I'll give it to my mom, and she actually uses it in her garden as a natural fertilizer. So that's what lamb wool. Yeah.
Awesome. So how old will the sheep that you have get to?
Well, this one's gonna go to market, but if I'm keeping them, sometimes they'll be up to like 8 years, 8 to 10 years, if they're producing enough lambs for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see if we get any more questions in. Do you eat lamb meat?
I do. So it's actually kind of interesting. The Oxfords and the Cotswolds, you can actually tell a difference between the two. Personally, I like the Cotswold lamb more. When I was doing a 4-H project, I was talking about the differences between a Lincoln and a Cotswold, and lots of people get confused just because they look the same, because they have curly wool. But so the Cotswolds are known to have more of like a buttery flavor in their meat. So that's I would prefer a Cotswold meat over Oxford meat.
Gotcha. So, my family used to have people that came from South Africa to work for us, and they used to eat lamb tail. Have you ever had lamb tail?
I have not.
No.
Have you?
No,
No.
I have not. But I was like very confused on why they eat lamb tail, but that's what they brought over to us. So I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, I haven't, but I should. That should be on my bucket list.
It seems weird. Like there wouldn't be much meat there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well, I think with that, we're all out of questions. So thank you so much for being here, Lauren. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. I think that's all we got. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next speaker. Let me get my script on here. Okay. We now will have someone coming all the way from Rochelle, Georgia. Owen Harris is from the Wilcox FFA chapter, and he will be talking to us about cattle today. So whenever you're ready, Owen, take it away.
We can hear you, Owen. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, we can hear you. Just can't see you.
There we go. How do I flip the camera around? You know how to do that?
There should be a
There
little
we
button
go.
that looks like-
Now we work it. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I'm Owen Harris, and I'm from the Wilcox County FFA chapter, and I ran into this lot at National Convention in Indianapolis, and I've been kept in touch with some of them ever since. And I was asked to do a little bit about show cattle. I've been doing this for 5 years, and this was my last year doing it. And with me, I have my little sister, Emma, if you want to turn the camera around. And she is a first-year showman, and that is her cow for this show year. It is hopefully we'll have it registered as a Linflex heifer. And what we're going to do is just show you a little bit about what we do, such as right now. How we start working the show cow is her hair, and that's probably one of the most important parts of the cow because it helps them fill out and make them look more fuller. Because you see right here, she appears to be a little bony, but if she had more hair, that would be filled out more and it wouldn't look quite as skinny. And also healthy hair, it just looks better. And how we start is we take what's called a wash brush, and while they're still dry, you just scrub down, work down the hair, except for the legs. You brush them to the side, right here in the middle, and you work it one way, You work at the other, and you just keep continuing to brush down all the way, including her neck, at a 45-degree angle. Then what we do next, keep the hair healthy, is we just wash it, rinse it a little bit. And we repeat the same process, just brushing downward at a 45-degree angle. That way, we get all the water as much as we can off the cow, so it'll be easier to dry her off, and it helps move the dirt and whatever's in her hair down and off the cow. And whatever you don't get while you're washing her, hopefully it'll come off when you're blowing it. You just keep brushing down like that. Once we've done that, we take the soaper right here and you just fill it up. 2 parts soap to 1 part water and connect to the nozzle, and you just soap them down. We don't normally soap them every time we work them. I like to do it maybe 2 or 3 times a week, because if you put too much soap on them, it'll dry their hair out and become dead and fall off. We don't want that. And you just continue to work down at a 45-degree angle. And finally, the last step of washing her, second to last step, is just rinse all the soap out again. It's important to rinse all the soap out, because if you leave some in there and it stays in there, once again, that could damage the cow's hair and either do more harm than good. So you got to make sure that you rinse her off good. And you just repeat the same process. You take your wash brush and you work down all the way at a 45-degree angle. Get all that water off. And if you can't tell, her hair is a lot cleaner, and there's not as much dirt and grass and straw in there as there once was, and hopefully what's left will come off when you're drying the cow. What we would do next is we would take them into our barn, and we would dry them all with the blowers up there, but that could take, Mama, quit walking like that. That could take about an hour. We don't have time for that. But what I will show you is when we're dry, or as dry as that one can get. You know what? We'll use this cow over here because she's dry. Once the hair's blown off, we would just comb it. And there's 2 types of combs you could use. You could use one which is mainly for your shorter haired cattle. Doesn't have as many teeth in it. And you have another one which is called a filler comb, and that's for your longer haired cattle. You can see that it's got more teeth in it at the bottom. That's just to pull the longer hair up and get it separated better. And normally this is a longer haired cow, but due to the heat right now, and we're in Georgia, it's pretty hot. She's slicked up and her hair's gotten not as thick. It's not as long as it once was, but hopefully with more work and keep working her, her hair will grow back and it'll be fuller and thicker and longer than what it was. I'll use this comb because she's got shorter hair right now, but rather than combing down in the drive, you would comb up at a 45-degree angle. That pulls the hair, that gets it going in the right direction. Now it's not gonna look near as pretty as it should because she ain't been blown off the wash, but it's kind of an example, I guess, of what you would do when you're combing one. You just keep going at a 45-degree angle until you get to her neck. Just brush straight down and get to her legs right here. Brush the comb out. See, like I said, as hot as it is, her hair's just falling off of her because of the heat. It's just, she's slicking up, but like I said, hopefully once it gets cooler, it'll start to grow back. And last thing I want to show you how to do is how we practice walking them for when they get in the show ring. So Emma, if you would untie your cow and take the rope halter off.
As she's doing that, Owen, how often, question that we had on the board, how often do you wash them?
Well, right now you need to work them 4 to 5 days a week, and all those days you would at least rinse her with 2 of those days, probably using shampoo to keep that hair healthy and full and not dirty. And what she's about to do is, this is a show stick, and personally, I never liked using a show stick. I would practice what we call walking our cow into place, where you don't have to use the show stick as much because cows are easily stressed. They get aggravated easily. When you're picking at their back legs or front legs with a show stick, it tends to make them very angry. And what I only like to use the show stick for is either scratch her on a brisket right here, or when we get to the side, I'll show you better. Take this end of the show stick and just put it right there at the small of her back, and it makes her ribs sink down, and it gives her a better appearance of looking fuller and her ribs drop, and that's what the judge is going to look for. I'm looking for a walker, just right there in the barn, and set her up in a profile stance. Walk her up one more bit, right? Get her front foot lined up. Keep in mind, she's a first-year showman, and this is also this cow's first year. She doesn't quite know what we expect of her yet, so she'll be not exactly sure what she wants to do. And right there is kind of how you want it, but that's too tight. She's too tight in her body. You want her to be a little more extended with her front feet side by side, and with this leg right here to your closest to you, you would want it pulled up, but like I said, I don't like using show stick, it gets it agitated. I would prefer to just walk her into place that you'll cooperate. Yes, she'll cooperate. Okay, and that's pretty much how you want her set up in a profile stance. The only way to get her better and more cooperative and more coordinated with you as a showman is to keep walking her and working her. And I like to do that as often as I wash and rinse a cow, because to me, you can have a cow as pretty as it can be, but if it's not going to cooperate you with the showman and walk like it's supposed to and give you the appearance like it's supposed to, it's not going to look good. And the judge is going to send you home with the last place ribbon. All right, and I think that's about it.
Awesome. Okay, we have some questions here for you.
Okay.
So what is your favorite part of showing cattle?
Well, it's kind of a love-hate relationship. I miss it a lot now that I'm gone from it. But out here, when you're halter breaking a cow, that's hard work. The cow doesn't know what it wants to do. It's fighting hard, but I thought to say that's my favorite part, halter breaking a cow, just because you never know what's going to happen. They're wild and they're bucking and kicking. For some reason, I just like that.
Yeah. So, what do you do with the cattle after showing? Do you take them to market or?
Well, most of our cows come from our grandpa's cow pasture right now. And if you want to turn the camera around, that's the cow pasture right there. The cows are on the other side of the pasture. But how we got started is with our grandpa's cows. If you want to bring the camera back around to me, I'm doing this really slow. When we're done with our cows, we'd either sell them back to our grandpa or to a local farmer, or sometimes we'll breed them and then sell them as a bred cow at a cow sale. But that one, her name's Flower. She came out of this pasture, and she's probably been one of the best pasture cows we've had. And we will sell her back to our grandpa. Now, this one right here came out of one of our old show cows, a limb flex heifer. And I don't know what the plan with her is yet, but hopefully we'll keep her and breed her and hopefully have another show calf out of her.
Gotcha. So, last question I have here. Do you guys use a cooler for your calves at all to get them to grow hair more?
Fan. If we use a fan, we have 2 fans set up in the barn, and for the cow with the longest hair that we have, which right now would be her, but it's slicked up, when it grows back, we will put a fan in her stall that not only will keep her cool, but in the fall and winter months, it'll make her hair grow faster because it's trying to get her body warmer as the fan's blowing on her and it's cold, and it just makes her hair grow faster.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Owen.
Thank you for inviting me to join.
Have a great rest of your day. See ya.
See ya.
All right. Here we go on to the next person. Our next speaker is Joe Walsh from Tok, Alaska. Joe is from the Tok FFA chapter and will be talking to us today about trapping. Tok is in the interior in eastern Alaska. Just how far from the Canadian border are you, Joe?
We're about 90 miles away.
Gotcha. Well, go ahead and take it away.
All righty. So I guess we'll start off with some of the furs that we catch around here. This is a marten. It's a member of the weasel family, and this is kind of a light colored marten, super soft fur, very thin hide. And they come in really nice dark, which is what people really like to prefer. Some of them have really bright orange necks right around here in the throat area, but this one's just a nice pale kind. And let's see what I can tell you. They can live up basically anywhere near riverbeds up to tall mountains, and really nice fur. This here's a fox. We catch these in some of our cat traps, which I'll show you in a minute. One of our cats that we caught. They're not worth a whole lot, but they're kind of nice to have for house decorations. This one's older, so he's not as nice as a newly fresh caught fox. And their hide is really, really thin. It breaks pretty easy. What we mainly get around for us is lynx. And super, super nice fur, very, very soft. Their hide's quite a bit thicker than the fox and martens, but it's not super thick compared to some other animals. So we got him. And then for the thicker hided animals, we got a wolverine. Much more of a dense fur. A lot of people use these in parkas and mitts and hats. Super warm. The ice doesn't form around it too well from your moisture from breathing outside. This one's really nice, more pale one. Some of them are really just dark, just almost black, some of them. And he's got nice even hairs on the back of him. And this one got a wolf. And Wolverine and wolf are super thick hided. They got really thick hides. So these guys can be used for parkas. They can be used for mitts, hats, coats, jackets. This is a lot softer fur than the Wolverine, but still very tough. And you get a lot more catching the wolf. Okay, and let's see some of the traps. So all of your traps for footholds, which is a kind like this, basically follow the same principle as this. You got your spring here. These are your jaws. You got this pan, which is what the animal's foot steps on and makes the trap go off. And you got this little metal bar right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what holds the pan. It'll set it up for you. So what you do is you compress this spring. See if I can get it down around. Oh, good. It's one of our traps that works. Right? And then you just pop this pan up to where it catches in this notch on the pan. And then it's caught. Then what you want to do is you want to turn this spring at a 90-degree angle towards your little piece of metal that holds your pan. And then you can set this other jaw down, or you can adjust it to make this go off very easy, just with the slightest touch. And the animal's foot will come over and he'll step in the trap. And basically, they all basically work the exact same. I got a bigger one here to show you too.
What size animal was that first one for, Joe? What type of animal?
That was for a marten. Could be for a squirrel, rabbit. Basically all the little varmint animals. Be for a muskrat. But mainly for a marten. So this one here comes in a bunch of different sizes as well. And it's called a conibear. This one is for a marten and squirrels and certain animals like that. But what you got is two springs. here and here. And then basically, here, let me actually, it's got two big wire squares and they hinge right here in the middle. So when you pinch the springs together, hurts without gloves. Then you can get it set. So you pull on it up like this, and it's got the same thing as the other traps, basically. Except, wow. This here, these little wires, this is your pan. And then you got this piece of metal with notches cut out. And this pan has a little notch cut out that allows this to actually attach to the main part of the trap itself. So when you set it there, then you can take off your safeties and it's ready to go. And so the animal will walk through and it'll push on this pan, which will make the wires, which will make the trap go off. What we do is we have these plastic buckets and we'll put the trap inside of here and our bait will be sitting up higher inside. And so when the marten tries to go inside, he has one way in and one way out. And the other good thing that the bucket does is it keeps snow off of the bait in the trap. That way it will have a better chance of going off. And it keeps the birds and stuff away from your bait. So you don't have to replace your bait every time you go out. So I'll show you. If this blue handle is the marten and he pushes on this, it'll go off and it'll get him. So that's the two main traps that we use for the marten. And then we got these bigger traps. This one is mainly for a lynx and a fox. We use bigger ones for wolverines and wolves. Could catch a wolverine in this, we have, but that was always by mistake. This one has two springs on each side, which has a lot more pressure to keep that animal's foot in there. Let me just set it real quick for you.
What are the most valuable pelts that you trap?
Definitely a wolf. You can, if for a good wolf hide, you can get anywhere from $600 to $1,200 or more.
So what are the limitations on that? Those are a little bit protected down here in the lower 48.
We don't have a super lot of limitations up here. There's a whole bunch of them. And a lot of times government will pay people to go out and shoot them and get rid of them because there's just so many taking out the caribou and moose.
So out of all the animals that you're trapping, which one's the meanest or the most dangerous?
Toughest, I would have to say, is a wolverine. You get up to them, and if they're still alive, they're just going haywire. Wolverines up here, they'll scare off bears from their meal. They're just mean, mean little tanks of an animal. And they're a member of the weasel family, just basically a large marten. Wolves, when you come up to them, they'll either be sitting and growling at you, or they'll kind of be up and walking around as far as they can reach.
Gotcha. So what are the hides used for mostly?
Mainly either house decoration or actual clothing, whether it's for style, for the clothing part, for style or for warmth, for doing the same things, just being out in the woods on the trap line, anywhere that's cold.
Gotcha.
And like with all of these pelts here, some of them we have yet to sell, but a lot of them we just hang up in our house once we get them tanned, which makes them all pliable and like leathery. So same thing with the marten as a lynx. Got the pan here, the paw steps on the pan, applies pressure, it'll go off. Now with these traps in Wolverine and Wolf, we'll use this stuff called wax paper. And basically we just use it as a protection to keep snow and stuff off, and you can cover up your traps with snow so the animals don't see it as well. And it keeps your trap from freezing up, which is how a lot of your animals will get away. If your trap's frozen up and it won't go off, then the animal can take all your bait and stuff and get away with it. So that's good stuff to have, good waterproof protection for that. We just cover our traps with snow and pine cones and pine needles, or sometimes even little sticks just to make it look natural. Depends on the area. And usually around one of those traps, we'll have 2 or 3 snares. This one's probably kind of hard to see. But basically, you have your wire here, and you tie this to a tree. Now this is 11 gauge wire. It's quite sturdy and nice and pliable, so you can get it really tight around the tree. And you have quite a bit of length to it. You can tie another stair to it to get more length, or tie a piece of 9 wire, which I'll show you here in a second, to make it longer. But basically, you have your snare here, and you want it at full extent. You want it all the way as big as it can get, and it'll look like a teardrop shape. And you'll hang this about probably a foot off the ground. If you have deep snow, hang it up a little bit higher. And what will happen is we have these guide sticks that stand up to where the lynx won't want to go off to the left or right. They'll want to go through the snare because they can hardly see the wire. They'll probably think it's a twig, and they always choose the easiest path. So when they go through it, it'll get caught on their chest, and then it'll just sink around their neck and choke them out. And that is my preferred way of doing it. It's fast, it's easy. You don't have to deal with them, and it's quick for them too. And usually you can get, it depends on how much brush they get in and whatever, but these don't tend to last too long. The cable just gets frayed from spinning or biting on or whatever. So every time I go out, I'll usually have another pack of these. And that one was for lynx. They make bigger ones for wolves, which is much thicker wire and cable. They have smaller ones for marten. We don't use snares for marten. It would just take too long for us. but they're super good. They're super easy to set up, and any animal can hardly see them. So, including me sometimes. This wire is what we tie all of our bait and our buckets for our conibears onto the tree. It's just baling wire, super thin, super pliable. You can bend it to any way you want. And we'll usually have one roll and wrap it up in duct tape so it doesn't fray out and get springy like this. And the snow stays out of it a little bit better. And if we have broken snow machine problem, like a ski is falling off, we'll just tie it on with this and get it out of the woods as best as we can. So it's really good stuff to have.
You happen to have a lynx pelt with you there?
Yeah.
And then we did have a question that came across that asked how long the typical trap line is, or how long of a loop you have on them.
So here's the lynx pelt again. And this is a good lynx pelt. A lot of them, they're at like the end of a year, around October, November area, they'll be really brown, and brown is not as good as this like nice silver coat to it. And then sometimes on these guys, it's super, super rare. It's like 1 out of 100,000. You'll get like this smoky blue colored one. It's like I don't know. It like in the moonlight kind of changes into a purple color, super rare and nice. But that's the lynx pelt. And on that question about how long, it depends really. I have one just back here past our house, about 2 miles to 5 miles. And then others are from 15 miles to 30. And we usually have about 5 of those at least each year. Basic tools for what you need out there. Pliers, they're super handy. You absolutely need them. These are heavy duty pliers right here. This is for cutting that really thick. Well, I don't even know if I showed it to you. This 9 wire. We tie the heavy duty traps like the lynx trap and anything bigger with it. Super heavy duty. We tie down our snow machines and 6-wheelers and all that good stuff with it. But it's also really not that pliable after a few turns of it, and it's really hard to get undone. But these are heavy duty pliers, and it just cuts this stuff no problem.
I think we have one more question, and then we're going to probably say thank you. Do you run your lines every day?
No, about each weekend we'll do it. So we do it here on school time. So after every 5 days, we'll go do it over the weekend.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's about all we have for you. Thank you so much for coming in, Joe.
Yep, no problem.
All right, with that, I think we're gonna move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Hannah Grove. Hannah is also from Pontiac FFA chapter, and Hannah was a junior this past year, and today she'll be talking to us about soil tillage. So take it away whenever you're ready, Hannah.
Hello. So I'm talking about soil tillage today, and this is our tiller that we use. we actually already tilled our field twice because it was so bad. We had to do it from the corn stalks that we had left over from last year. So basically, you lower it down into the ground once you get going, and then the disc will roll forward, and then behind the disc are a dragging system that we have. We have to put extra draggers on because the things aren't good enough. Like enough pumps don't add these. And then we do it once a year before we plant, and we do it at least twice throughout the field. We do it once before we get sprayed, and then once after we get sprayed. Yeah, and so the main reason we do this is it lets the soil get worked, and then if it rains, it'll let the soil absorb the water more than if we don't do it, it's packed down.
Gotcha. So how deep does that go into the ground?
We have our set about 1.5 inches that it goes in. But you can do them at any depth you.
Gotcha. Let's see if I get any more questions here. What crops do you grow, Hannah?
We grow soybeans and corn.
Awesome. So have you gotten anything in the ground yet?
We have all of our corn in, and I think we're gonna start soybeans next week.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, hopefully it doesn't get too cold this weekend.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite part to do, Hannah?
My favorite part is harvesting, which I know is not till later, but it's just one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. It's a busy time of the year.
That's fair.
Let me see if I get any more questions in here. About how many acres do you guys have?
We farm about 180 acres for a couple that lives in Hawaii.
Gotcha.
So it's
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you, Hannah. Thank you so much for dropping in today.
yeah.
All right. With that, I think we're going to move on to our next speaker. Let me go back up here. Next, we'll be hearing from Seth Stoddard, and I believe at least one of his kids from Woodbourne, Oregon. Seth is the advisor at Woodbourne FFA chapter, and he is the advisor there. So Seth will be talking to us about meat goats. Go ahead and take it away, Seth.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Well, welcome to the beautiful Beaver State. It is gorgeous. It's 75 degrees. This is a hot day for us. We are in the northern Willamette Valley, just south of Portland, Oregon, our biggest city. And we are on what's called the wet side of the state. We have high desert out to the east, which has a very different climate. But here on the west side, we have a very temperate climate and a really neat microclimate for growing a lot of different specialty crops. And so we do a lot of seed production. We do a lot of hazelnuts, hops, and a lot of things that don't grow anywhere else in the world. So really unique climate here and an absolutely gorgeous day. So thanks for letting us join you. We're really excited to have you. And I wanted to show you my son's meat goat projects, which we have up on stanchions right here. And so this is my son, Cole. Cole is a 4-H member. He's 12 years old. And do you want to tell him how you got your project started?
Yeah, I started my projects by
Well, first I started raising turkeys and I got grand champion, and I got a lot of money from those, so I could start buying goats for a breeding project.
And so what you're seeing here, we've got a mother and son combination here. So this is Sweetie Pie, she's a doe, and then this is one of her two kids that she had this winter. And so this is a wether. This is a male that we have neutered in order to be what's called a market goat or a meat goat. So these were before the pandemic hit. These were scheduled to go to our county fair in July, but that was just canceled this week. So we're going to be looking for another way to sell these animals. So Noah here is going to be a market meat goat, and so full size they can be anywhere between 60 to 100 pounds, and they dress out just like a regular market lamb, and there isn't a huge difference in taste or texture when it comes to the meat and what have you. These are boar goats, and boars are a breed of meat goat, most common breed of meat goat, and they originate from South Africa. And you can see that they're a very muscular kind of animal, and so they're built a lot like a market sheep, and they're going to look a lot different than a dairy goat might. So with that, what kind of questions do you have about goats or anything about Oregon agriculture we can answer?
Let's see what we have here. What is Cole's favorite part of raising goats?
What's your favorite part about raising goats?
Probably how friendly they can be compared to some sheep. Like our sheep out in the pasture, they run away from you, and you have to take a long time to catch them. But the goats, all you have to do is really walk up to them, be nice to them, and they'll come right to you.
Gotcha. So, do you ever eat goat meat?
You ever eat goat meat?
Not yet.
No? You planning on it?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah, with our auction being canceled, we're not sure where our
Yeah.
terminal sale is going to be for these guys.
Yeah, it's crazy. So how old is the mother goat?
What's that?
How old is the mother goat?
How old is the doe?
2 years old.
2. Gotcha. And how old is the son?
He was kidded in January, February? January. So Ella's my daughter, and she's going to come on into the camera here, and she's going to teach you a little bit about different things that they eat. So come on down here. Or if you just want to hold stuff, I can talk about it. That's fine. Okay, so one of the things we wanted to teach about today is some different forages or things that they might eat. And so what we have here, I'm not sure how well you can see that on camera, is this is just a grass hay. And this is pretty low in protein, but this is a good just general hay for keeping their gut action going and to keep animals full. So in the wintertime, when does and sheep are out on pasture and there isn't any grass to eat, then we'll feed them this just as a maintenance ration. Okay, this right here is alfalfa, and I'm not sure if you can see this in the shade, but alfalfa is a lot leafier and a lot greener, and so alfalfa is going to be a higher protein hay or forage that we'll feed to animals that need more energy. So we're going to feed them this, and it will help them to grow and help them to digest a little bit better. And then third, some of you are wondering what we feed these animals as well. I'm not sure how this is going to show up on camera, but this is a complete feed mix that has corn and oats and soybeans and molasses and barley and all sorts of stuff. And so this is a complete feed that we feed to Noah, and this will also help him to grow up big and strong and be a good reach market weight. So a lot of people don't realize the difference between the different feeds, and that's why we feed what we feed.
Awesome.
What other questions do you have?
So I heard something about sheep. Do you have any other animals other than goats on your farm?
You guys want to tell them?
Go ahead.
Okay. So in the interest of time, I'll go ahead and jump in here. So we have layer chickens. So we've got a wide variety of chickens. Right now, we give all of our eggs to a local food pantry, but we would normally sell them to teachers. We also have turkeys. Cole has market turkeys. We also have a Mustang off of a local Indian reservation that we are halter breaking. And so it's a beautiful Mustang named Shelby. I thought that was an appropriate name for a Mustang. Let's see. We have sheep. So we have 2 ewes that we bred this year, and we have 4 lambs out of those ewes that are 2 we're going to keep the ewe lambs out of and replace, and then we'll be selling the other 2 wethers, the castrated males, as market projects as well. Did I get all the animals? Oh, we have a wide variety of small animals as well. We have everything from a chinchilla, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, gerbils, a rat. Those are all great things for my wife and myself, as we're both ag teachers, and we bring them into class all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's around here.
All right. So a question came in. Someone noticed that they're different colors. Is there a reason for that? Is it age, or what's the reason they're different colors?
Want to tackle that one?
Yeah. So usually they're different colors because of like the mom and dad. See, the dad was mainly all black with a little bit of brown. So that plus her brown mixed in with that black to make kind of like this all brown with a couple white spots.
Awesome.
That's
All
your
right.
6th grade genetics lesson.
Well, it made sense to me. All right. Well, I think with that, we're all out of questions. So thank you guys so much for dropping in and letting us see your goats.
Thanks very much for asking, and have a great day and a great weekend.
You too. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. And now we're going to go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is from Pontiac. He's a Pontiac FFA member, Chris Corrigan. He was a freshman this past year, and he will be talking to us about steam engines today. So take it away when you're ready, Chris.
As Maddie said, I'm Christopher Corrigan. I am into steam engines and tractors. Today I'm going to talk about steam engines and their safety and everything to deal with it. So first off, they run off of wood and coal, but you have to start it off of wood, and then usually we run coal while we are in the field plowing or running sawmills, threshing machines, which is what they used to do back in the old day before we used to have tractors. So today I have our 2005, the boiler is a 1998 65 half scale. It is a model of a full-size 65 steam engine. It is built by Case, and this one was hand built. We built everything but the boiler on it, and then we put it together. So the maintenance of it is you got to clean everything. You got to grease everything that has a grease insert. You have to punch the flues and clean out the firebox so that we clean out all the wood and all the coal so that it can run fluent and smooth. And right now we're running it off of air because it's a little cold and we haven't got it prepped for the steam year. But so the maintenance is yearly. We have to clean out the inside of the firebox and everything inside of it. And we had to take the grates out and we had to pressure wash it all down. And then at the end of the year, we had to put it all back in and then just make sure everything's greased and running smooth. These, make sure you usually have jeans, closed-toe shoes, a good shirt on, some sure that you don't get dirty, and just protection of your hands, because when you are up running this, it will get really hot on your hands sometimes. It would always be good to have gloves on. And basic stuff, we go to Indiana and Ohio for steam shows, and we don't take our full size 1917 full size because we have to get it on a semi trailer. This one we can just throw on a car trailer and go. So the basic maintenance parts of it. This right here is the flywheel, which is what we hook up to sawmill, rock crusher, and everything on it. The gearing, this one isn't. There's different kind of gearing you can make on them. We don't have a fast one because we use ours for work, plow. This one we can pull a 2-bottom plow, and our big one we can usually run about 5 or 6. This one we've had it before, but we didn't get it built until 2005. Our full size is a 1917 60 horse, and that one we have put through a lot of work on the sawmill, on plowing, spark shows, which we love to do, and that's mostly it. Are there any questions?
Awesome, Chris. Well, we do have some questions. How old did you say this was?
This one, the boiler, was a 1998, but all the pieces on it, once we got it all fully built, is 2005.
Gotcha. Okay, so what is your favorite part about running the steam engine?
I would say getting to do spark shows because it's late at night. You get to see all the sparks, and it's instead of doing all the hard work, you get to have a little bit of fun with it, and all the people that come to watch it love it, and it's just a blast.
Awesome. Let's see here. So why didn't you build the boiler is one of the questions he asked.
Well, we bought it already built, and they're pretty expensive to replace. That's the first thing you usually have to replace on it after so many years of working it. Depends on how hard you work it, if you use it constantly or if you just run it once or twice a summer. Just depends on how you use your machine, how good you keep it.
Gotcha. So is it loud when you run it?
When you're running it off of wood and coal, it's kind of loud. When you're on air, it's quiet, but once you get wood and coal, if you're working it, it'll have a little knock in it, but that's because you're putting pressure on the piston and all that. But it's pretty quiet.
Gotcha. So I'm looking at the wheels. The wheels are super thin. Why are they so thin like that?
The front or back ones, or which ones?
The back ones.
Well, the back ones, we have these on it. Some people put rubber on it so they can go on the road. But since we plow, we have these grips in there. We don't have a full size, so like a big huge one. So the size is a 65. So we don't. That's the scale size of it. If we had like 100 horsepower, 110 horsepower one, we'd have wheels about another foot out. But that's usually about what size they are.
Gotcha. Okay. Another question is, how do you do a spark show?
So a spark show is you take off all of the sawmill. During the day, they run sawmill, and then at night we hook up to a belt to put it underneath pressure, which allows the smoke to come out of the stack really good. And what we do is we take the shavings from the wood and we just shove it into the firebox, which the firebox is back here, in here. And what you do is you want to do all wood, but it's not black smoke coming out because you won't be able to see it as well. But you load it up on wood, and then you throw a few scoops of sawdust in there, and then you turn your blower on, which allows it to come up the stack really well, and it's just a ton of sparks pretty much, and it gets pretty good height.
Gotcha. Cool. Do you have a whistle with the air?
Yes, I do. Turn it on really quick. We have a few different whistles that we can put on it. This one's the main one we keep on it, but we do have air, like a ambulance kind of sounding one, but this is just a normal whistle. And there's different like things on it. One or two whistles, two quick ones mean you're moving forward. 1 means you stop, and 3 means you're going back. And then if you're in trouble or need help from another person around, like say something went wrong, you're out of water, make sure you have to keep water in this engine, or else it might have a problem with it. That's the main part of this. They tell us is water, 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 and if you don't, it will not allow you to have steam or anything. And if you're out of water or something, you just constantly blow it, and some steam person will know that, and they'll come in to help you.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think with that, that's all the questions. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. All right. With that, we're going to move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Jay Scott, a veteran from Richland, Washington, with his dog Romeo. Romeo was trained as a service dog by Bryson Herman of the Grandview FFA chapter. Grandview FFA has a service dog training program. Jay became connected through the Service Peace Warriors and will be talking to us about his service dogs today. Thank you for your service, and we're excited to hear about your project. Go ahead and take it away, Jay.
Hello, my name is Jay Scott, like Maddie said, and I'm currently in Eastern Washington, in Eltopia, which is where Service Peace Warriors is located. And here with me today, this is Romeo. So he used to be called Romero when he was being raised, but Service Peace Warriors changed his name to Romeo, which is what his name is today. Me and Romeo have been paired for about 6 weeks now. I took him home about 6 weeks ago, right before the pandemic happened, and he's been a blessing in my life. As Maddie was saying, I am a combat veteran. I served 2 tours in Iraq, and I developed a condition called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I came home and I was really not right, and I didn't know why. And I finally went to the doctor, and they said, hey, that I had PTSD. And so they last year, my doctor finally said, hey, you should probably think about getting a service dog. There's been really great results out there with service dogs and veterans. And so I got connected with Service Peace Warriors, and that's how I got Romeo. Service Peace Warriors is a nonprofit organization in Eltopia. Eltopia is about 30 minutes north of the Tri-Cities, which is Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco, and it's second largest on the east side of Washington. Spokane being the largest, and then you have Tri-Cities being the second largest. But yes, there's definitely, just like Oregon, a west side and the east side. The east side is desert. Like here, it's beautiful, 73 degrees, clear skies, and it's really nice. And it's probably raining over on the other side of the mountains, which it normally is. But no, but yeah, Romeo is a certified dog, and he can go on plane rides, trains, anywhere in the country. I'll show you here. I'll flip my camera around. So Romeo is licensed. See my picture, and then it has his picture. So when I go to the airport, I just show him my credentials, and he goes right through the gosh, I can't think today, but he goes to the checkout, and he gets to go anywhere that I go. So, but yeah, he wears this vest, and I'll stand. Let me show you. Romeo, here. So all service dogs wear a vest, and this is his vest here. Shows that he's a service dog for Service Peace Warriors. And I'm also the executive officer of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association here in Washington, in the east side. So I have their stuff on here too, but it has on here that it's the laws that show that I can take him everywhere. If anyone has questions, there's a phone number if they don't believe me. But yeah, so Romeo is trained to, like, see, he's already wanting to stay right with me when I walk. And if I tell him, Romeo, sit, he sits. Romeo, down. He'll go to a down. He's very well trained. This is about as wild as he gets. He's a very relaxed dog, and that's good for someone with PTSD, because you don't want a dog to get you anxious or anything like that. But yeah. So what has he done for me since I've had him? So before I used to have really bad nightmares. And so I built a bed so he sleeps right next to me every night now. And if I'm having a bad nightmare, he actually will get out of bed, come over and nudge on me, and he wakes me up. And it's been really great. And I haven't been able to get probably 8 hours of sleep in years. And since I've had him for the last 6 weeks, I've gotten full night's sleeps. I'm feel more energized. It's just been great. I mean, with the pandemic, you can't really go anywhere. So I've taken it, I can only been taking him to like supermarkets. He does really well there. But I don't go to malls, lots of people. I get really anxious and I try to avoid those places. Just going to the grocery store with him now, it's been really helpful, just going to the grocery store. So he's changed my life a lot in the last 6 weeks, and it's been a blessing. But yeah, um, I don't really know what else to talk about, but Service Peace Warriors, they train the dogs and they supply the dogs to the veterans free of charge. Everything's free. I haven't had to pay for anything out of pocket. The only thing I'm required to do is go to their trainings. It's an 8-week training. And today we had training today, and we just got done with our training. And then tomorrow we're going to have some more training. We're actually all meeting at Target, and we're going to do some cart training in the store, and just to make sure that we have a handle on that, make sure the dogs act appropriately and do what they're trained to do. And then, but yeah, their medical bills are taken care of. They're really great. It's a really great organization, and they allow us to come out anytime we want and work on their equipment. They have a full agility yard. I wish I was still there to show you, but we got done really early today, and so we didn't want to wait an hour and a half to be here, so we moved on. But they have a great agility yard that we have access to every 7 days a week, and they have a medical. They have a medical place that you can go there and you can trim their nails. You can get basic stuff checked out. You can even take them there to get a bath if you want. So it's been really great. And so yeah, that's Service Peace Warriors. Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Yeah, we have a couple here. First of all, we have several people just thanking you so much for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And then we have a couple questions. So is Service Peace Warriors a nationwide program?
No, it's not. It's actually it's a very small nonprofit here in Eltopia, Washington. They do have clients in Oregon, California, and I think one in Idaho. They're actually so small. They try, because as people may know, 24 veterans commit suicide regularly, every day. And so their goal is to get out 100 dogs a year. But with the size they are and the cost that they incur as a nonprofit, they're constantly having to look for grants and outside support so they can keep providing services. So they're only limited to they're limited right now because they're still so small.
Yeah. So some people are wondering, how can they become involved with Service Peace Warriors, whether that be like maybe donating or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to www.servicepeacewarriors.org, that's their website. And if I happen to get that wrong, please let me know and I will make sure you get the right email address, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. www.servicepeacewarriors.org. That's their website. They have a donate page there. They're always looking for volunteers if you live in this area. They work with the high schools all around our region to raise puppies, just like Romeo back when he was first Romero. Romero actually, I didn't say this, but he actually started off as a CNI trained dog. He was going through the CNI, the blind program. He failed out of that program, and then Service Peace Warriors picked him up because they thought that he would be a great service dog for PTSD, which he has been. So, but yeah, they work with high schools all across our region, and they're always looking for people to to raise puppies. Like today, they have 14 brand new English cream retrievers that the mom just gave birth to a few weeks ago. That they're already looking for puppy raisers for them. They have gold German Shepherds, the Eastern full-blooded German Shepherds, not like the American German Shepherd, but the Eastern, German Shepherd. The mom is pregnant with a litter, so they're going to be having German Shepherds pretty soon. So I mean, they're always looking for volunteers, and especially financial support. I'm always giving people websites because they do such a great thing for veterans and first responders that I try to find them support as often as possible.
Yeah, for sure. So how old is Romeo?
Romeo is 1 year and 9 months old. His birthday, I have it on here. His birthday is June 8th of 2018.
Ooh, so he's gonna be
He's gonna be
turning 2
tuned
pretty
soon.
soon.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party for him.
Aw. So, is Romeo the first dog you've ever had, or you've ever had any dogs before now?
Yes, I have. I owned one dog when I was a kid. His name was JJ. Loved that dog. He lived to 14. And then after he passed away, I went off to the military shortly after that. And then since I've been out of the military, we own a pug, and we still have the pug. And the pug runs the house. And the pug, Josie and Romeo, they get along great, and they're like best friends. They go everywhere together in the house. But yeah, we own a pug, and and now I have Romeo.
Yeah, I have a big dog and a small dog too, and my big dog's a boxer, and then I have like a cockapoo. No, not a cavapoo mix. So it's poodle, and so it's small, and she really likes him, but he's not a huge fan of her. I think he's just too old and grumpy to handle her sometimes. So that's good that they get along, because mine do not. I mean, they're not bad, but he just gives us the really look.
Pug wins, though.
Yeah, little dogs usually do.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Oh yeah, I work in at a kenneling service, and the little dogs are always the sassiest. So I get that. So another question came in. How long will Romeo stay with you?
He will stay with me until he's at least 12 to 13 years old. Then he'll retire. And then once he retires, he stays with me after that. He stays with me as just my dog. And then Service Peace Warriors will give me a brand new dog.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so as long as I treat the dogs, because they put their dogs first. It's all, they put the dogs before us, about their health and their treatment. And if a veteran's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they take the dog away from them, because they care that much about their dog. So as long as I do my part, I'll always be in the SPW family.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, I'm thinking with that's all the questions we have.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. This was really cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been awesome.
Hey, I want to jump in just real quick, Maddie, not to jump on you, but as I've watched, I get to watch these comments a little bit closer than what Maddie does as she's moderating. And I just wanted to jump in. Actually, I just had one more question come, and I know when exactly, or what was the date? When did you get Romeo?
I got him in the beginning of March, or middle of March, right after all this started with the pandemic, because I was in the middle of training and they canceled the training, and they told us, just take your dogs home. We'll start training once we find a better date and once we get through all of this. So it had to be in the middle of March.
And I just wanted to add in there, as I've watched a lot of these comments, is there's a lot of outpouring of support and love there, Jay, and appreciate your service and your time in the military. And love that you could join us today with Romeo.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for your support. And, it was my pleasure to serve our country. And I think I could speak for a lot of veterans. We would go back in a heartbeat if we could. And, this is the best country on earth. And, I'm proud to be an American.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Yep, you too.
I'm going to stay on and listen, though.
Yeah, no problem.
I've gotten intrigued.
All right. I think we're up to our final speaker of today. Jacob Bressner is next. He is a Pontiac FFA member and is one of this year's officers. Jacob was a sophomore at Pontiac this year, and he will be talking to us today about his beef cattle. So whenever he's ready, go ahead, Jacob.
I'm cutting in. I believe that Jacob was a junior.
Junior. Oops.
No, well, I also need to give the shout out because we didn't put it. Jacob was just a state finalist in his proficiency area as well. So he interviewed
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago and went through that process. But I had to cut in and throw him a little bit of credit there.
Oh, yeah.
So
Is it working?
sorry, you know.
Are you there, Jacob?
All right.
Yep. Can you hear me?
He can hear you. Can't see you.
I don't know what. Can you see me now or no?
I can't. Maybe other people can. Can you see him, Faber?
I cannot right now.
This phone is good.
We can hear the cows.
1 second, we're gonna try to open the door.
That sounds good. You know, Maddie, as he's doing that, I had to think just your face lights up a little bit when we were talking about the dogs here just a few moments ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When he was talking about that, I got my dog sitting right next to me.
Yours is
It's funny because his dog's name was Romeo and mine's Romo, so it's kind of close. Kind of
like
close.
that. I give you credit. Your dogs are fairly well behaved. That they haven't been jumping up in your lap here, there, Maddie.
Well, my dog is 9, soon to be 10, so he doesn't jump a lot.
I keep looking at it and I think about all the ground that we've covered here today, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I know Jacob's talked a little bit about being able to show off his baby calves, and actually there we have video with Jacob in it.
There he is.
All right. So I'm gonna start off here. I got a cow calf right now. Pretty much where it all starts. You have your calf out of the cow. This calf's only about a week old, and this is a heifer, so that's good that we can show her and we can keep her in our herd and keep reproducing from her. In terms of like feed, the cow gets hay and can eat grass out there, and also gets producing milk for the calf, so the baby can nurse off of her. And then we wean them about 4 months of age, from wean the calf from the mom, and then that's when we have her, and then we introduce out of that. It's born, we get it broke, becomes a show animal. I have her from last year that I had, and she's she's out in the pasture. Good. She's doing about 1 month from today. Look like that, and the process will start over again for her, and then we just keep breeding them. And then in here, let's come to this gate. Your cows. Helps them produce a lot of milk and stay healthy. This is my show seer for this year. And I actually made them so I'm just you get a close here, look like some of the people were talking about earlier. So I'm using a skip tooth comb for his hair. The heifers we have at home actually are slicked off, so I use a scrub brush. And I rinse him twice.
Did we lose you again, Jacob?
Comb it in, and I'm not going to use the blower, but is it good? Did you lose me?
Well, would you be able to step outside and maybe answer a few questions?
We can go back out there. I don't know. Go back over here. Did I come back? No.
Yeah, we've got you now.
All right. I'm gonna pin here. So you can show 'em.
One of our 8-year-old listeners has asked, how many baby calves do you have? Are you there, Jacob? I see Maddie again.
It must be just a Illinois-wide shutdown on internet because my computer isn't loading anything either. Let's see.
See if we can get Jacob back. And as we kind of talk about it, I've been able to watch a lot of this as I get to see the people that have been watching us all day long there, Maddie. And we've had quite a showing and quite a group of people here that have kind of followed and got some great comments from people of all ages, to be honest.
Awesome.
And so that's been a true joy. There we see video again of Jacob. Do we have you now, buddy?
You're on mute.
Here, I am mute. I'll unmute you. There we go.
Good.
Yeah, we
Yep.
can
All right.
hear you now.
I was just combing that in with the comb, and then there's blowers here that you blow it in. So it's got warm air, helps dry the hair and push the moisture into the skin and help condition it. And this is the foamer with soap in it that we use when we wash them, like twice a week, I said, so your hair doesn't dry out. And then I've actually got some feed in here. So taking into consideration the situation we're in right now, where there's not a lot of places for your market animals to go. As he's a steer and he'll go to the locker. The feed we're using, this is a hotter feed. It has a lot more protein in it. And it'll help them gain. It'll have a higher rate of gain each day for the calf. And since we're not quite sure when the show season is going to be, could be later in the fall, and we don't want our calves to be too big. So we just recently switched from that feed. That feed's got a lot more corn in it, to this feed right here, which has got it's got less protein, less corn. It's got oats, some wheat, cottonseed hulls, and stuff like that. It's not gonna make them gain a lot of weight, but it'll still help them gain weight. And then there's hay, of course. Every calf needs to have hay all the time, every day, and so, and water. Is there any questions?
Let's see here.
We have an 8-year-old listener who has, and I tried to ask this once, I think before, an 8-year-old listener that would like to know how many baby calves you have right now, Jacob.
We've got 5 calves on the ground out of the, we've been pretty successful. We've lost 1 calf, but that's all right. We'll make up for it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why you lost it?
Yeah, it just had the calf about a month early, so it was too premature to survive.
Gotcha.
What's your
Well.
favorite part of your cattle project, Jacob?
My favorite part is probably going to the shows and hanging out with my friends and showing, and I like fitting on the calves. So that's a lot of fun. It's probably one of my favorite parts.
How many different shows do you usually go to if we're not in quarantine?
We actually go to quite a few shows in the winter. Right when we get our calves, there's about 3 or 4 jackpots that we go to in the Beef Expo, and that's late end of February, and then we start back up again. Actually, it would be in a couple weeks here. We'd have our first show, and then we show throughout the summer about 5 or 6 other shows, and then end of the fall, November is about our last show we go to.
Gotcha.
How much does each calf eat per day?
We give them about a half a bucket, so around 4 to 5 scoops, and each scoop's about 3 pounds, so that's about 15 pounds. So per feeding, so about 30 pounds a day.
How did you, are all of your cows former show heifers?
Yeah, so all my cows are former show heifers that we just bred to produce calves out of.
Another question that just came in, how many cows do you have?
We actually just kind of started this show deal not too long ago. So we're just kind of building up our herd right now. Between me and my brother, we've got about 8. We have 8 cows together, but we keep them up here at one of my buddies' houses where we got the pasture that we need, and there's about 25 cows up here. So
Awesome. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Do you have any that are coming in, Mr. Faber?
I've been watching. I think that all of the questions that have come in, and I know that we've had a tape delay because there's been a few people as we've gone throughout the day that get a question in right after we sign someone off. But Jacob, thank you much. Best of luck. Best of luck with your calves. And it's great to see. I know that you had some frustration and with your calving success of years past. It looks like you're having a little more success with getting the baby calves on the ground this year.
for sure, yep.
That's it's a very, very good thing to have. So thank you much. Thank you much. Oh, I guess we just have one more question come in. Do you ever have to get a veterinarian out there when they give birth, or do they do that kind of on their own?
Usually we can get the calf on our own. We very rarely have to have the vet come out.
That's very good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I think it's time for Maddie and I to wrap this up a little bit.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yep. See ya.
All right, everyone. Well, that rounds out all of our people in the lineup today. I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I know I've learned a lot from broccoli to maple syrup to cows. I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff about just our nation's agriculture overall. So I hope you all learned as much as I did. I had a great time. Faber, you got any last words you'd like to say?
Well, I'm going to say this, Maddie. You're going to have to go back and watch this on Facebook when they on the recording, just so that you can see the comments. There's a lot of glowing compliments to you as the host all day long. You've done a great
Well,
job.
thank you.
Stuck right with it, and that's awesome. I am glad that we got to have the experience. I have enjoyed kind of sitting here virtually with you throughout the last several hours. Couple of so big shout out. I'll give you a round of applause from my side here.
Yeah.
Nice job. I also want to say a couple. I know that Mr. Bain hasn't necessarily been on. He's been doing a lot of behind the scenes and trying to help make sure that the people are getting on and not having any technical difficulties. I actually am very pleased. I mean, we're about 6 hours in and we had the one glitch there where we had to restart, and I look forward to discussing with YouTube why exactly that happened, but I think that was pretty good. I want to give a shout out to Sam Johns, one of our good officers. She actually started off the day at her pig farm. For anybody who's seen the advertisements and all of the posts that have gone out and all of those graphics that have gone out throughout the day, those were created by Sam Johns, and she's done a great job of really helping to push those out and using social media to help get that out and connect. So I want to definitely do that. I know that I also want to do a special shout out to Mary Mackinson Faber. She's been kind of watching as well and helping with a little bit of the tech support in case there were any issues, which once again, we've been pretty fortunate on that. And so that's been really good and appreciated that. So I don't know, as I think about it, Maddie, I'm reminded of a vacation type trip right here today. I think about one of those trips where you go on like a 5-day vacation, you see a lot of awesome stuff, and by the time you're done, you almost forgot what you did on the very first day, right?
I know, yeah. Seems like forever ago that I talked to Sam.
It seems like so long ago that we were doing that, and I look forward to going back and watching some of these videos as well. I just saw a couple more comments, and I know we had some younger members. I had one who kind of apologized for having tons of questions. No, I'm great with it. She's thrown a lot of really good questions at us. One of our 8-year-old listeners today, and had a lot of great questions coming in from people that have followed us. These will be posted to, and I will even take the recording here. Admittedly, I accidentally didn't hit record on the Zoom side of it until right after Sam was done talking about pigs. But I will definitely upload that to YouTube as well in case they don't let us bring the last one. Here's some stats for you. You ready for them, Maddie?
Yep, I'm ready.
We had 34 stations today.
Wow.
Coming to us from 8 states in 5 time zones. The commonality between all of them was that they were agriculture and they had specific ties to agriculture education. And when I say that, we had a couple that were great hosts for us, such as your class going out there and visiting. We had 5 state FFA officers from 4 different states that came to us. I think that we covered a wide variety from the food side of things to processing, to animals, to plants, to horticulture, to mechanics, to natural resources. I think we really hit it all, don't you?
I think so, yeah. It's crazy.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna put you on the spot here in just a second again. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. One of them's gonna be which one was your favorite. I'm gonna make you pick one, which one was your favorite? Which one was the most surprising to you? And which one was the one that you feel like you learned the most that you didn't know before?
Gotta look through the list here. All right. I'm gonna have to say that my favorite, this is hard.
Ooh, I'll give you a second to think about it. For anybody who's listening and following along on YouTube and Facebook, if you could do us a favor right now and put in where you're watching us from in the chat, I would really appreciate it. We would love to kind of know where everybody's from. Plus, I'm buying Maddie a little time to answer this question. So,
Okay. I'm gonna have to say, I know it wasn't the most like crazy thing that I saw today, but I really liked Ashlyn at that beef ranch. I don't know if she was just really good talking about it, and she had such a passion for it. It was just a lot of fun to watch her talk about it, and it's nice to see other people, other women across the nation just very passionate about what their family does, and I love seeing that. So that was probably my favorite. What were the other ones?
well, you
Most
just kind of
surprising?
said it, the most, yeah. Which one was the caught you the most, was the most unexpected to you?
Look, probably. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have to stick with either the broccoli guy from California, Justin, or the yaks. I mean, you can't top yaks from Alaska. But I also was really surprised by Aaliyah because, it's just so cool. She's 16 and she owns her own bakery. So yeah, those are probably the three most surprising for me.
You'll probably become friends up at St. Ambrose now.
Probably. I hope so. Maybe she can bake for me if I see her in St. Ambrose.
This might sound strange. I thought the yaks would be bigger.
I know, I did too. I did, but they're a lot fluffier
I
than
just thought they would be bigger. All right,
Yeah.
then the last one. What I guess which one do you feel like you learned the most on?
Oh, I'm probably gonna have to say I'm probably gonna have to go with Joe's, the trapping. I didn't know anything about trapping. So that was probably the one that I learned the most about. I didn't know anything about any of the pelts or anything. So that was probably the one that I learned the most about.
I was watching with unease, and I know that he's an expert, but sitting there with the live trap right in front of his hands on the table, he's talking and moving his hands around, it made me a little bit nervous, and I enjoyed
know.
But it did. And I guess the part that perhaps the most surprising besides the yaks was he talks about what they're trapping and uses wolves in his example. But basically in the lower 48 states, the thought of trapping wolves is the thought of something that can get you in serious legal trouble. But up there where they have lots of wolves, it's just a different approach and a little different world that they live in. And so
For sure.
I found that, I don't know, I sit here, I say the same thing though, with even the ones that we had of Pontiac students, where I've been out to most of those projects that they were talking about, is I feel like I learned something new, whether it's about the steam engines. The number of times I've been to the airport with Adam and heard him talk about his project, and every time I learned something new with that, and it just goes across. But I'm really, as a teacher, I'm really proud of all of our members that participated, but then all of our friends and colleagues from across the country. I just thought it was great and really appreciative of it. So
yeah, for sure.
If you don't have anything else to add, I think that we are going to go ahead, and I'm gonna click the stop sharing here.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.